Hello and welcome to this special edition of Blue Valley Today. I'm Matt Basinger.
And I'm Heidi Heimbrug. On today's show, we are celebrating 10 years of live student television here at BVTV.
It all started on Tuesday, January 31st, 2001, when Good Morning Blue Valley came on Time Warner Cable, Channel 18, for the very first time.
The anchors for the first show were Lisa Boschert and BJ Kissel. Let's take a look on how it all began.
Good morning. It's Tuesday, January 30th, and this is Good Morning Blue Valley. I'm Lisa Boschert.
And I'm BJ Kissel. And this is our first live broadcast for BVTV. Our show today is student-produced and includes stories featuring students and schools in the Blue Valley area. We're glad you could join us on this Tuesday morning.
Before the first live show aired, students from around the district came out to the studio and classroom to become a part of the student news team. Two of these students, Lisa Boschert and Brandon Blank, brought us this story about a young girl facing tremendous adversity.
First grade is a time where most children make friends and learn about the world around them. Olga Deckman is like any 6-year-old. From her love for singing to her excitement about socializing with friends, Olga is an average first grader. But Olga is also very special. She is different from other 6-year-olds. She was born with several disabilities.
The Olga-nator.
I want to ban it.
But the first thing you notice about Olga is her smile. She is so happy, it's hard to believe that this energetic child spent the first 5 years of her life in an orphanage.
Well, Olga came to our house a year ago, July, and she came over from the country of Belarus.
When Olga came to live with Nancy and Gary Deckman and their family, she was only expected to stay for 5 weeks in America while receiving medical treatment for her disabilities.
Our kids, probably a couple of months after she was here, it was real obvious to them that this was a done deal. Yeah. So we were going to do this. It was a matter of not so much if we would adopt her, it's when we would adopt her.
Throughout this past year, Olga has been receiving medical treatment to enable her to live a more normal life.
And she had the 2 fingers that were fused together, and they cut those, so now she really can use these fingers.
Olga's ability to use her hands changed the way she did things. But living in the Deckman's home changed Olga's entire life.
After being here in the States in this environment, I think it was going to be a significant culture shock. Plus the fact, giving her limitations she's got, the opportunities for her were null and void. So at least here, not just with our family, but with here in this country, she has significant opportunities.
Watching her change as a person and watching her personality come out and watching her respond to love and affection and to a family. And I think we started to slowly see how she just was starting to thrive in this environment.
Olga is very similar as the other first graders. She came in and she's learning to read, to write. She's exploring numbers for the first time in her life, which is exciting. She's learning a lot about the English language, but very much looks and acts and sounds just like the other first graders. She just relates to the other first graders really well, and she's taught my kids a lot about hardship and overcoming it.
With Olga's new opportunity to receive an education and grow up in the love and care of a family, her future looks bright.
Olga is very caring, very loving, and very intelligent. And I think because she's here in the States, I believe that the technologies that are with us today, she will have all kinds of opportunities. And I think the other thing she really enjoys doing is singing. So that I think between the technology in her voice and above all that, her spirit is unbelievable. You know, her spirit to live, her spirit to love, and she thoroughly enjoys every moment.
You are my sunshine, my only sunshine. You make me happy, 'cause you're great. You'll never know, Mom, how much I love you. So please don't take my sunshine away.
With her spirit, smile, and laughter, Olga has become the sunshine of so many people's lives. For Blueprints, this has been Lisa Boschert.
Today, Olga is a junior at Blue Valley North and still enjoys singing with the chorale. This story won first place in the Best of Show at 2000 NSPA Convention in Kansas City. Let's go over to Britton Fuller, who has a special guest with her.
Thanks, guys. I'm here with Rachel Budd, a 2002-2003 alumni. Rachel, what are you up to these days?
Graduated from K-State a few years ago, and right now I'm working for Nordstrom here in Kansas City.
Oh, cool. What is your favorite Blue Valley television memory?
Probably our final show, because it was kind of a disaster, and those are always fun times here.
All right, well, thank you so much for joining us today.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
Back to you guys at the Anchor Desk.
Thank you. Bo Davidson and Georgia Chandler won first place in the feature category of the 2001 Broadcast Story of the Year category for this story of a Blue Valley West BD teacher. Let's take a look.
How do you tell a 7-year-old girl that she has cancer?
My parents were very brave to have to tell their daughter that they had to take her leg. They didn't know if I was going to make it. I mean, I didn't have much of a chance to survive. There wasn't anything back then like chemotherapy or radiation, and really I had one chance out of 100 to survive, and so my parents centered their life around me, so it was tough on my family.
Although this was difficult for Holly's family, they were always very supportive.
All I could think about was getting rid of the pain, number one, and number two, my dad promised me that when it was all over that he would get me that horse that I always wanted. So I was real excited, actually, and as soon as I got out of the hospital 3 weeks later, we started searching for a horse, and as soon as I could walk on crutches, we were out looking for horses.
As Holly grew older, she became self-conscious about her disability.
My self-esteem was not too great in junior high. I struggled a lot with who I was, and I didn't like myself, and I didn't think I was pretty. No one would ever like me. I'd never date.
But Holly's worries came to an end when she met Tim.
Even when I was around her at first, I was truly amazed by her, seeing this girl go out and get on crutches and run 3-4 miles. I
started dating him when I was 18, and we dated through college and got married right after I graduated. I think Tim's special in the fact that he can, you know, accept a person like me, and I don't feel handicapped around him at all, and I don't think about having one leg, and it's so nice to be able to be comfortable.
After 27 years of being cancer-free, Holly's family continues to show their love and support.
They made a book, like a scrapbook of pictures when I was little and pictures with my family. So my brother Ken, who's 2 years older than me, wrote in there, what would the world been like today? How would we have survived without you? And he said, people look at you and see one leg, I look at you and see 7, meaning I have 3 children, Lance, Luke, and Leah. And I guess the way he looked at it is, of course, if I would have died, there wouldn't be those 3 wonderful children.
As a teacher at Blue Valley, Holly has the ability to be a positive influence in troubled teens' lives.
I feel like I got a better end of the deal of being a teacher because I get to know my kids one-on-one. I don't have 26 in a room every hour. I have maybe 4 or 5, and I get to really get to know these kids.
Holly has had a positive attitude throughout her life and continues to be optimistic about the future.
I want to continue teaching and do something with kids, and it might not always be a behavior teacher. I am going on to Blue Valley West next year. I'm really looking forward to that. I'm going to be the department chair over there.
In life, love, and family, Holly's faith has been rewarded.
I feel very, very blessed that I was able to live and appreciate life and be able to give life. I thank God every day for my kids. I thank God for life.
This has been Georgia Chandler for BVTV.
Holly continues to teach in the district at Blue Valley West High School, my alma mater. Her youngest daughter is now a sophomore at West. Now let's go over to Britton, who has another guest for us.
Hey guys, I'm here with Bo Davidson. He was an alumni from 2000-2001. Bo, what are you up to these days?
Well, I just settled back in Kansas City. I'm running a recording studio with my brother in Midtown.
That's really cool. So what is your favorite Blue Valley television memory?
Well, let's see. The first show I anchored, I don't remember who my co-anchor was, but in the middle of a segment, they accidentally cut back to our camera, and I was doing like a weird Gumby face, and it broadcast to all the schools, and I never lived it down. My mom still shows the tape at family reunions at Christmas.
All right, well, thank you for joining us today. Back to you guys.
Many famous people have had it. Leonardo da Vinci, Thomas Edison, Cher, Tom Cruise.
It's called dyslexia, and it impacts the way people read and understand the written word. Here's Megan Connor about Blue Valley Northwest teacher Matt Christensen.
To many, this looks like a normal Blue Valley classroom, students working and teachers lecturing. But when Blue Valley Northwest teacher Matt Christensen writes a normal sentence on the board, it looks like this through his eyes because of his dyslexia.
There's a lot of things that I have to do differently than other teachers. I can't write on the board, and so that's a big hindrance because of my spelling. I'll spell backwards on the board occasionally, so everything I do is typed up the night before. With one of those little red stars on it.
With the help of his teacher, Charlotte Walker, Christensen discovered ways to succeed in high school when many told him he could not.
He discovered for himself that he needed a quiet place, a place that he could concentrate, at times talk out loud to himself, an active listener, which meant that, or use of an active listener, which meant that one of us would sit with him while he was taking a test, read the test question to him, and allow him to respond back verbally what he assumed his answer would be.
It hasn't been an easy road. As a child, Christensen and his family kept himself motivated to keep going.
Dyslexia has been described by some as a gift, and we tried to help him see that in a way it was, because it helped him learn how to structure his time, how to manage his materials, how to organize his life so that he's set down very specific goals and maybe just a few goals for the day, and he worked toward meeting those goals, and then always said, look how far I've come, not how far I have to go.
Christensen's hard work paid off with an award at Kansas State.
One thing you have to know, what do you know? I was named the Kansas State most inspirational person in the class that I graduated with. So out of about 13,000 people, I was given the Anderson Award, which is a recognition for outstanding achievement or outstanding performance.
Christensen has come a long way to become a well-respected teacher at Blue Valley Northwest.
The way he captures the students in the palm of his hand as he's telling the students, and you look around and everybody's focused on exactly what he's saying. He just does a super job in the classroom.
Mr. Christensen is really like the type of teacher that you want to work hard for. You really want to do good in this class.
Don't give up. It's hard. It's a real struggle, and it will always be hard. Dyslexia or any learning disability is something you have from the time you're born to the time that you're done. But if you work hard and you work smart and you ask people for help, which is the most important thing, if you constantly ask for help and improve yourself, you can do it. So I've been able to do it, and I love life.
This has been Megan Connor for Blueprints.
This story won first place for the best news story in the NSPA 2001 news category. Matt Christensen is still teaching at Blue Valley Northwest.
Now let's go back over to Britton, who has another BVTV alumni.
Thank you. I'm here with Brooke Jenkins, a 2001-2002 BVTV alumni. What are you up to?
I live with my husband David in Prairie Village, and I work as a financial analyst for HNTV here in Kansas City.
So when you were in BVTV, what was your favorite memory?
I think I enjoyed most all the bloopers. At least that's what stands out in my mind. I know one girl was listing off the 7 dwarfs once, and she called one of them sleazy, and another guy was interviewing the superintendent of the district, and his cell phone rang on air.
Oh,
so
no.
Those are kind of fun little blooper moments.
All right, well, thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, thank you.
Back to you guys.
Matt, what was your worst on-air blooper?
We had quite a few bloopers, if I remember correctly. I think my favorite, though, was when you would accidentally go to the wrong screen and there'd be somebody just sitting there kind of looking like this, not realizing they were on camera to like the entire Blue Valley School District. What about you?
That's a good one. I don't know if I have any on-air bloopers, but I do remember watching some of the videos and thinking, what was I wearing?
You know, throughout the years, there have been a lot of bloopers that have made the air. Here's one that we came across from a show in 2005.
Now let's head it on over to the Weather Center with Alex. Alex?
Thanks, guys. Well, right now it's 59 degrees outside. As you can see, you might hear some slight thunder, and it is raining. Today we're only going to climb up to 64 degrees, and tonight we'll have a low of 48. Let's go to local radar. All right, as you can see, there's rain all across Kansas. We're going to be sticking to that all day today, but I'll tell you more about that later. Back to you guys.
All right, thanks, Alex. It's time for a short break. Stay tuned for sports and more senior videos. We'll be right back.
Let's go over to Britain with another guest.
Thanks, Heidi. I'm here with Alex Hughes, an 04-05 BVTV graduate. What are you doing now, Alex?
Living in Lawrence, Kansas, finishing up at KU. This is my last semester, so I'm not sure what I'm going to do after that.
And what was your favorite BVTV memory?
Probably the trip to Los Angeles in 04. To go compete against other schools.
Yeah.
Just gave us assignments and let us go.
All right.
It was a fun time.
Well, thank you so much for joining us.
Yep.
Back to you guys.
Thanks, Britton. Now let's take a look at a story produced by Chris Pearson and Laura Boyer in 2004 that takes a look at some very special twin sisters.
This story took first place in the Kansas Association of Broadcasters and Journalism Educators of the Metropolitan Kansas City contest. Let's watch.
Future is bright for Chanel Fields, an 8th grader at Harmony Middle School. Basketball runs in her blood. She watched sister Tanisha run up the scoreboard for years at Blue Valley North, and now it's her turn.
My older sister plays, and I've always wanted to try to beat her in her sport, and I've been still trying, so.
She's well on her way as she led Harmony to a winning record this year. But she wasn't the only Fields helping out the team. At the end of the bench sits Melissa, Chanel's twin sister and the manager of this Thunderbird basketball squad. At birth, Melissa was diagnosed with cerebral palsy.
Cerebral palsy is caused from lack of oxygen to the brain when the child is born, and it causes limited mobility for muscle tone, and she can't move on her own.
When they were little, when they started growing up, about 1 year old, it was a big difference because Melissa, you had to be with her all the time, where Chanel, she would crawl around, and everything like that.
Even though Chanel wasn't diagnosed with the disease, it still had its effects on her.
She always had peers around her, always helping her, and I thought that was kind of weird, seeing her like that every day, like at school. At first, I felt kind of embarrassed about it, like when I got older, like into 4th grade and 3rd grade. But when I got older, I realized that it doesn't really matter.
With high school right around the corner, Chanel is trying to improve her shot, while Melissa is working on improving her speech.
What we've had to do at school is to, she uses a Dynavox, and it's programmed to say different phrases that she would need throughout the day, like a greeting, hi, or would you please open the door, or I need help, I need to go to the restroom, things like that.
I went to the girls' basketball game.
This fall is sure to bring new experiences to each of the girls as they head off to separate schools for the first time. Chanel to Blue Valley North and Melissa to West.
I want to miss seeing her in the hallways and saying hi to her. I think she'll probably miss me the most because every time I see her, she freaks out and she goes really fast on her wheelchair.
For BVTV, with Chris Pearson, this has been Laura Boyer.
Now let's get over to Britton, who has a special guest.
Thanks, Heidi. I'm here with Laura Boyer, an alumni from 2002 and 2003. Laura, what are you up to these days?
Well, I'm working as a financial advisor, and I live in Overland Park. Just back doing my thing.
And what was your favorite memory from Blue Valley Television?
I would have to say all the chaos leading up to the shows and then it coming together into that perfect show at the end. I feel like our class was a really well-oiled machine.
That's good, because some of them weren't.
I was being sarcastic.
Back to you guys.
Thank you. Well, Heidi, before we step away from the anchor desk, it's been a pleasure. Why don't you catch us up on what's been going on in your life since you stepped away from BVTV?
Well, I graduated from Blue Valley 2002. 10 years later, I'm working for a company called BCBG Max Azria on the Country Club Plaza, and I'm one of the assistant managers there.
Very cool.
What have you been doing?
I'm working as a college guidance counselor at the St. James Academy over here in Lenexa. Graduated from University of Kansas in 2008 and Blue Valley West in 2004. So
very cool.
Just working away.
Over the years, the Good Morning Blue Valley show had some creative opens.
Let's take a look at some of them from the last 10 years.
welcome to Good Morning Blue Valley.
Hello, and welcome to this.
Hello and welcome to this.
Welcome to Good Morning Blue Valley with Spencer Goldenberg and John Steinmetz. Sports with Ty Grocius and Farzine Vasugian. And weather with Ryan Fitzgerald.
On this week's show, we'll meet a gymnast who's reaching for her dreams, some teachers who are realizing dreams of their own, and an update on football playoffs around the district.
Hello and welcome to Good Morning Blue Valley. I'm John.
Welcome back. I'm Ty Grocius.
And I'm Paige Hendrick. We've got some more great stories to show you from the last 10 years. But first, let's go over to the Sports Corner with Ryan Wallace and Farzine Vasugian.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Sports Corner. I'm Ryan Wallace.
And I'm Farzine Vasugian.
It was 10 years ago that BVTV won their only NSPA Story of the Year Sports Feature Award. The story was done by Caroline Brady and Nick Pearson. Here's a look at the making of the 2000 State Volleyball Championship.
I think our goals this year will be like to do well at state.
Win state.
Pretty much to win everything.
Since its opening, Blue Valley Northwest High School's volleyball team has created a strong tradition of excellence. The 2000 season was to be no different, with 5 senior starters who'd been playing together for nearly 4 years. The only thing different about this season was the new head coach, former KU assistant coach Jan Madlock.
I knew a lot about Blue Valley Northwest and the tradition and what Christy Posey was able to build here, and knowing that the players were pretty dedicated and focused and also pretty talented. I thought it would be a really good challenge for me to see what it would be like to be a head coach.
With Madlock, we have a lot of fun, and I mean, we joke around, but it's still serious.
After having adjusted to their new coach, the Huskies were confident in their quest for a state medal when tragedy struck. Senior setter Stephanie Bearden fractured her thumb in a game against Aquinas, and senior Leah Spiegelberg tore 2 ligaments in her knee at the Aquinas tournament soon after.
I just went up wrong, and the ball hit me directly on the tip of my thumb, and it fractured it. Rachel Ramp took my place as setter.
Actually, I wasn't even on varsity at the beginning of the year. I was on JV, but after Steph got hurt, they moved me up.
I just went up for a slide, and I came down, and just all my weight on my right leg, and it just snapped. And my sister did really good. She came in and really stepped up.
Coach told me I had to step in there and play and just go in there for it and do the best I could.
Even with sophomore Rachel Brandt in for Stephanie Bearden and young freshman Stacy Spiegelberg in for her big sister Leah, Northwest volleyball fans thought the season was over. But the Huskies proved them wrong when they made their way to the Class 6A state final versus Blue Valley North.
We played so well in the semifinal match. I think we gained a lot of confidence that morning, and I could tell that they were ready to play. It was unfortunate we had to wait for an hour before we played our championship match because everyone was on such a high.
In the third game of the final match, the state title was within the Huskies' reach when they were faced with yet another obstacle, the injury of their only junior starter, Elise Hickerson.
With 4 points to go against Blue Valley North, I came down funny on my foot and I ended up spraining it and chipping a bone, and so I missed out on those last 4 points, but I knew that we had it by then.
Elise was replaced by another younger sister, Christine Chisholm, who served the last 4 points of the final game. The very 4 points that won Blue Valley Northwest the Class 6A state championship. This has been Caroline Brady for BVTV.
The 2000 state championship for Blue Valley Northwest was their third.
And no other Blue Valley district team other than Blue Valley West in 2005 has won a state volleyball championship. Now, let's take a look at some Blue Valley school twins and their quest for a state championship.
Welcome to the world of Blue Valley High School wrestling. A Kansas State powerhouse since its doors opened some 34 years ago, BVHS has housed many great teams and superior athletes on their mats. But it wasn't until 4 years ago, when two scrawny freshmen walked through the doors, that the Tigers had what many call the most dynamite tandem in Kansas wrestling today. That's right, tandem. As in two, as in twins. Meet Grant and Keaton Baker. The thought of wrestling didn't really cross either Baker's mind when they were young teenagers entering high school. And it wasn't until former coach and current principal Scott Bacon mentioned the word wrestling to the two brothers that the opportunity of a lifetime arose.
They were recruiting wrestlers, and me and Grant being twins too, they usually thought twins make good wrestlers.
Although, at the time, it didn't seem like much of an opportunity to the brothers.
Like, coming into high school, it was like, oh, it's a sport?
I remember, yeah,
cool.
Watching a couple matches on ESPN and thinking, this is the most boring thing.
And so began a passion for singlets and sweat in the lives of both Tigers. Of course, they'll be the first to tell you they weren't immediate superstars. They had to overcome tough losses and injuries during that first year in the sport. But then again, overcoming adversity isn't something this duo is unfamiliar with. Because you see, the Baker brothers didn't start out life like many children. Born and raised in the small town of Amarillo, Texas, not by their mother and father, but by uncle and aunt.
They were only expecting to have one of us. Like, they weren't expecting twins, and so, like, I don't think they could take care of one of us, but with two of us, there was no way. So, Mama and Papa took us in. But growing up here, we were really thankful, because if we would have grown up with our other family, it wouldn't be good. We probably wouldn't have been wrestling, probably wouldn't be going to high school.
The love the two have for their family is unmatched, and the support and strength has brought them to where they are today. Recently, Keaton came within 1 point of becoming a high school All-American at Nationals. But during their final Kansas tournament of their careers, the twins, destined for gold and glory, were victims of heartbreaking defeats. Surprisingly enough, though, medals and plaques aren't what's important to these fine young men. It's the morals and life lessons they've learned to live by.
It means more to me that I'm not a state champ, but they still look up to me. They still know, wow, I want to be like him. And I didn't get my state championship.
No matter what happens on the mat, there's no doubt the future looks bright for these twin brothers as they continue walking the path of success 2 steps at a time. For Graham Yohe, this has been Ryan Wallace, BVTV.
Ryan, tell us more about that story.
Well, both Keaton and Grant graduated from Blue Valley High School and ended up getting full ride scholarships in wrestling to Central Missouri State. They both had successful careers, and I believe now they're living the real life here in Kansas City. Farzine, before we go back to the anchors, update us on what you've been up to.
Well, I'm wrapping up at Johnson County Community College, and I've been involved locally with my Chiefs podcast online and my blog. And I've also contributed to Kansas City Sports and Fitness magazine. And Ryan, one impressive thing, I predicted that Chiefs would not only win the division, but they'd win 10 games. That's exactly what happened this year.
You've got to be one of the smartest people in the Midwest then when it comes to sports.
How about you, Ryan? What have you been up to?
I graduated from Kansas State about a year ago. I'm still living in Manhattan, working full-time at a radio station, and I'm actively involved in Rivals.com with Kansas State and football and basketball recruiting.
Sounds awesome. Great working with you. Thanks for joining us here at the Sports Corner. Back to Ty and Paige.
Thanks, guys. Every year, the Student Television Network sponsors a contest where a group of 4 students have 4 days to complete a feature story on a designated topic. Although we have entered many times, the BVTV News team has only won once.
That was in 2004 when Chris Pearson, Matt Hayward, Allie Hamaker, and Brittany Benich submitted this story on the challenges of teen driving. Let's take a look.
The car, a symbol of freedom or a deadly weapon? Driving fast, one hand on the wheel, the other managing the cell phone, flipping through the stations, all of this while transporting other passengers who also serve as a great distraction.
Just the light of our life. We had 3 beautiful daughters, and then we had Jeff, so he was the youngest and the baby. And
he was always honest. He assumed everybody else was too. So, you know, you could tell him anything and he'd believe it.
Told him that that if the sign was outlined, you know, in white, the octagonal stop sign, that it was stopping was optional. And he believed it. He told his driver instructor that. And then he was a junior, and in September he went out to be with his friends, and they were driving, and he was talking, and they were playing music, and he ran a red light, and a car came and struck him right where his door was and flipped the blazer over, and he was tossed out. He wasn't wearing a seatbelt, and he was killed that night. So.
Jeffrey had not been drinking that night, and he was not under the influence of drugs. The only mistake he made was being careless, and on September 20th, 1998, at this stoplight, it cost him his life. Each day, millions of teens get behind the wheel without knowing their risks.
Every 91 minutes, a teen is killed on the road. Drivers ages 16 to 19 are 4 times more likely than older drivers to be involved in a motor vehicle accident. 82% of these accidents are caused by driver error. Adolescents are more likely to speed, run red lights, make illegal turns, and disobey other traffic laws, resulting in 4,700 deaths a year.
A lot of the causes involve inexperience in driving, and then you start connecting the fact that the distractions that they have, whether it's cell phones, CD players, or other kids in the cars, is basically just a recipe for danger. The only way to correct this is to educate the parents along with educating the teen drivers.
According to the Kansas Highway Patrol, in 77% of deadly crashes, the teens were unrestrained. Harms and other student resource officers have created new programs such as Buckle Up for T-shirts to help educate students on how to stay safe. Each year, they give away free T-shirts to students who have their seatbelts fastened as they leave school and instruct those who do not to buckle up.
Put your seatbelt on. Seatbelt on. You wear.
I can't even describe what it's like to have to tell a parent that their son or daughter aren't coming home anymore. And it's still such a helpless feeling, whether they're crying, they're screaming, you're holding them and trying to give them any kind of support you can, and it's just not enough.
I mean, life is hell for us, for Vicki and I. We tend to think, you know, we're happy when we smile a little bit. There's this underlying pain, though.
Don't even, you know, think about not paying attention. Pay attention. It devastates, it ruins people's lives to have a loss like this.
For Blue Valley Television, this has been Allie Hamaker with Chris Pearson, Brittany Benich, and Matt Hayward.
Let's go over to Britton, who has another guest for us.
Thanks, Paige. I'm here with Adam Squitieri, an 04-05 graduate. What are you up to nowadays, Adam?
Well, I'm actually working for ESPN. I do freelance graphic production for them. I travel around the country doing college sports, basketball, football, so yeah.
Wow. And what was your favorite Blue Valley television memory?
I think all the times that we were just here till 10 or 11 o'clock at night and working for the show to make Bruce happy, so always wanted to do that, so yeah.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Back to you guys.
Thanks, Britton. For many years, one of the popular segments on Good Morning Blue Valley and Blue Valley Today are the elementary and middle school kids who come out to do the weather.
Yes, in fact, my sister Molly did the weather when she was only 6 years old. So let's take a look at one of these segments.
Weather, Christine?
Currently our conditions are 13 degrees right now. Our high today is 28 degrees, and our low today is 6 degrees. Right now it feels like 1 degree, which is really cold, so go ahead and put on a jacket when you walk outside. Moving on to our extended forecast, on Saturday we have a partly cloudy day, high of 23, a low of 10. On Sunday we have light snow showers, high of 25, a low of 18. On Monday, which is our day off, we're very excited about that. If you're going out with your friends, you might want to put on a jacket because it'd be a little cold. It's a high of 36 and a low of 19. On Tuesday, we have mostly sunny day, and then a high of 39, a low of 21. On Wednesday, we have light snow showers, a high of 44 and a low of 31. Back to you guys.
On the evening of July 1st, 1993, 20-year-old Blue Valley North graduate Stephanie Schmidt was brutally raped and murdered in Pittsburgh, Kansas, by a paroled sex offender. Stephanie's parents have worked for the last 18 years to change laws that protect these criminals. Here is Stephanie's story, told by Laura Walensky and Matt Hayward.
Anytime she would walk into a room, the room would just light up. She had a beautiful laugh. She was a great daughter.
Stephanie was just a total joy from the day she was born. Very patriotic, or born on the 4th of July.
Stephanie Schmidt was the girl next door. She had friends, a mom and dad that loved her, a sister she was close to, and a life full of opportunities ahead.
There was just kind of an aura about her that was just pleasant and very helpful.
Stephanie graduated from Blue Valley North in 1991 and decided to attend Pittsburgh State University. But just shy of her 20th birthday, everything changed. After a night out with coworkers, Stephanie was ready to head home, but the rest of her group was not. She was offered a ride home from Don Gideon, a man she worked with but barely knew. What she did not know was that Don Gideon was a convicted sex offender, a fact kept silent by her employer. That was the last time anyone saw Stephanie Schmidt alive. It wasn't until 27 days of intense media coverage and constant searching that the family's worst fears were confirmed. Stephanie had been raped and murdered.
There were days where I couldn't tie my own shoe. I couldn't balance a checkbook. I couldn't even function for more than half a day. The loss of a child, more so than anything else, is so devastating. It tears your heart out and just leaves a big gaping hole that takes forever to learn how to function.
For the Schmidts, learning how to function meant lobbying and changing 6 Kansas laws. You see, the Schmidts believed it was silence that killed their daughter. Their goal was to prevent what happened to Stephanie from ever happening again. Through their efforts, a law called the Stephanie Schmidt Sexual Predator Act was created, and it's saving lives.
The one thing we do feel is still important to get our information out, and it's still a challenge, and I think the challenge is changing attitudes.
At the same time the Schmidts were helping to create new laws, they started a program that educated others about everything from how to protect yourself to domestic abuse and date rape drugs.
She's still our daughter, and that's why we continue to speak out for her and others. You know, she doesn't have a voice of her own anymore, and so we must continue to do what we're doing.
We had nearly 20 years with her, and we'd all hoped for so much more, but I would do it all over again.
This story won the National Television Academy Award, and Laura and Matt were flown all expenses paid to Los Angeles to receive their award. Britton, who do you have with you now?
I'm here with Mary Ellen Patterson, an 0607-0708 Blue Valley TV alumni. What are you up to these days?
Actually, I'm at the University of Kansas studying history and geology right now, and I'm in my junior year.
Okay. And what was your favorite BVTV memory?
I'd probably have to say when we went to Los Angeles to do the STN convention. I think we came back just a huge group of friends, and we just had fun the rest of the year. So.
Yeah, those were always a lot of fun.
Yeah, they were.
Well, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Back to you guys.
In 2007, Courtney Bullis, along with photographers Scott Simpson and Greg Dubinsky, told the story of a young African boy and his amazing journey. Let's take a look.
Vanis, a 5th grader at Morris Elementary School, has mastered a very unique virtue at a very young age.
He consistently wins the award at Morris Elementary for being persevering. And that's what he does. He just doesn't give up.
Salafu's persevering nature has made him dream big for the future.
Well, I would like to be Steve Owens, but who goes around and looks at crocodiles and snakes?
But no matter how far into the future he looks, nothing can erase his past.
Salafu's village was attacked when he was about 2.5 or 3 years old, and I believe it was during daytime. Salafu's mother managed to escape into the countryside, into the jungle right there next to their village with her other children. Salafu wasn't in the hut at the time, and so his father picked him up and proceeded to try to run away with him. And the rebels shot him in the back, and he fell, and then they came up upon him and cut him up, and he was carrying Salafu, and so they hit at Salafu's head at least 4 times. One of the blows tried to decapitate him.
Salafu had to wait for over 3 years to be sent to the United States for medical care. When he arrived, the Vanis family took Salafu to KU Medical Center, where they learned the shocking truth about Salafu's injuries.
I walked into the neurosurgeon's office with him the very first time at KU Med, I remember, and Dr. Paulo Boynick, and he was probably over 6 feet tall, very tall, lanky gentleman, and here's little Salafu, and he looked straight down at the top of his head, and he just looked at him, and the first thing he said was, "He should be dead."
Salafu had to learn about running water, electricity, stairways, and even toilets. But Salafu worked very hard to exceed in daily routines and school.
Sal's very artistic. He's a pretty good math student, and I would say that he has a better grasp of the English vocabulary than many children I've ever worked with, even though he didn't learn the language until he was 5 years old.
Salafu's big heart and determination makes him what he is today. But Ann Vanis believes Salafu received a lot of his gifts back home.
Now, I'd really admire his mother. I totally admire his mother, because in the face of such horrible situations, she managed to teach this kid some incredible things. Because I'd like to say, yes, he's a wonderful child because he's lived in my house, but, you know, he was wonderful before he ever came here. He was a sweet child. So that was her gift to him.
For BVTV, this has been Courtney Bullis with photographer Scott Simpson.
Today, Salafu, or Sal as he likes to be called, is a freshman at Blue Valley Southwest who plays football and loves the drums. Truly an amazing journey. Let's go to Britain for another special guest.
Thanks, Ty. I'm here with Daniel Capra, who is actually one of my BVTV classmates from 2009 to 2010. Dan, what are you up to these days?
I go to JUCO, and I'm studying business marketing right now.
Cool. And what was your favorite BVTV memory?
My favorite Blue Valley TV memory would have to be when we were all in California on our trip, and we got into chicken fights in the pool and fought other schools, and we won, so that was fun.
We did win. We brought it.
Yep.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us.
Thanks.
Back to you guys.
Thanks, Britton. The Garcia family have gone through some tough times as their son Dawson has battled congenital heart problems since birth.
Several years ago, Britton and I met this family and told their story. Here it is.
It's the annual Jump Rope for Heart Day at Oak Hill Elementary. Students have collected money from the community to support the American Heart Association. This year, the event has even more meaning. 9-year-old Dawson Garcia watches from the side. His dad explains why.
Dawson was born with a congenital heart defect, and they've been watching his aortic valve over the last 9 years, and it's been leaking. They call it a mild regurgitation, and they're having to go in and redo his aortic valve with a mechanical valve this year.
Dawson's friends have been very supportive.
I met him last year. We were in each other's class, in Miss Sorensen's class. I raised $126 for the American Heart Association for him.
We asked Dawson if he could have one wish, what would it be?
A gecko.
You said that last time. Okay, if you could wish for one other thing besides a gecko, what would it be?
A ferret.
Dawson's family has persevered through his challenges.
The stress that we go through and the trauma that we go through, the trade-off is so incredible because he's really kept us very close as a family. He's kept us, believing in our faith, and I wouldn't change anything.
He has to go through all of this, and sometimes I'm like, I don't want him to go through that because I can't even imagine the pain that he must feel because it has to be unimaginable.
Although Dawson's heart is not strong enough to play football, his friends have made him feel part of the team.
I help coach football for third graders.
The coaching aspect of it has really helped out because now he's a leader in that environment, and so the boys are looking at him as a leader and also as a friend.
Through their long journey, the Garcias have relied on their faith.
The only thing that you can do is pray and understand that there is a plan and there is a reason for why things happen. And it's not within our control, and Dawson's the way Dawson is because that's the way Dawson is supposed to be.
Sorry you have to have heart surgery. Your friend Drew.
Even with the support of family and friends, there are still tough times.
Wishing you could swap places. I mean, if you could, you would in a heartbeat.
This has been Ty Grotius and Britton Fuller for BVTV.
Let's go to Bruce McRoberts, the teacher of BVTV who makes it all happen, and Britton for the last time.
Well, first of all, I want to say thanks to everybody that came today. It was a great time, and I wanted to ask Britton to get her update. What's going on with you, Britton?
I'm going to Iowa Western right now, Iowa Western Community College. It's right inside Council Bluffs, Iowa. I'm a mass media student, and I cheerlead there, so still going after the broadcast thing.
Great. That's great.
Yeah.
And we were talking about the Garcia story. That was one of those challenging stories with,
yes.
Very emotional with the kids and the crying and everything else. Tell me about that.
It's hard to see a dad, thinking of your dad even, crying about you. It's just hard to sit there and just not say anything and not comfort him and just get the video. It's really hard to just sit there and watch it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, I want to thank you very much. You did a great job today. It's kind of like, here, bring this person in 7 or 8 times. I really appreciate you coming back.
Is there anything you want to say? Or?
Well, I just wanted, again, I know hopefully a lot of the alumni, we're going to put this, it's going to be on Time Warner for 2 or 3 months, and hopefully get it on probably Vimeo. I'm going to start up an account, so I'll get all the information. So I just want to tell all the alumni, please come back and see us anytime. We're still here at the same old place, and I want to thank everybody again that came out today, and again thank you and all the anchors, and definitely also thank Mark Ekstrand. Mark has been here with me side by side for 10 years, and he has done a tremendous job. He really keeps it together. We could not do this without Mark. I also want to thank my wife for all of her support through all the years.
Well, thank you for everything you've done also, okay. And I hope that you have 10 more years and many more after that to come.
All right. Well, thanks so much.
Back to you guys at the Anchor Desk.
Well, thanks, Britton and Bruce. That just about wraps up our show here, but before we go, let's get an update from Ty. Ty, what have you been up to?
Well, I'm currently studying at Johnson County Community College, and I will be transferring to Pitt State in the fall to pursue my broadcasting dreams. How about you, Paige?
Well, I graduated from KU last year, went through the broadcast program there. I'm having a baby in a few months, and I'm getting married in the fall, so I've been busy as well.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you. We want to thank you again for watching and wish all of the alumni that couldn't make it today the best of luck.
Be sure to keep track of the latest BVTV news on their Facebook page. Thanks for joining us.